Keepa keeps dropping amazing new features into their tool. And today I'm excited to go through 7 use cases for the newest one that just came out a few days ago as of the time of this recording, which is for the historical sales rank. Now, this is a big update because before you had to utilize some of their ability to see the best sellers in a category for historical time periods. But now they've actually allowed us to look up a historical sales rank on the Keepa data product finder. So let's go ahead and get into this because there are 7 different use cases that I want to make sure we cover today. I'm not going to go through them in super extreme detail or anything, but these are the ones I'm starting to build systems around for my Evergreen sourcing program and other things that I do for my business building legends community. Now let's talk about the very first one. So here is the historical sales rank inside of Keepa and their data product finder. So to get here, you're going to click on Keepa and then data up top, and then you're simply going to click on this product finder right here. And then you've got a bunch of different levers and switches that you can essentially pull to pull back the ASINs that you're looking to potentially purchase that are primed for the picking, so to speak. And this historical sales rank is a game changer. Now, Keepa just released this. It has up to a 36-month window that you can actually go back, and Keepa actually says that right there. The last 36 months are supported. Now, if you actually wanted to look up the historical sales ranks for a lot of different products, you could simply go into the product bestsellers into here, and you could select, let's just go with grocery and gourmet foods. And then I can actually select historical over here to see all of these different products. Again, it goes back these 36 months, actually all the way back to October of 2022. But that's just going to show the top sellers. What Keepa has now done inside of the product finder is it's going to show us any sales rank that it's tracking historically for those months. And so let's get into the very first one that I recommend doing. So the first one is obviously seasonal demand. We are coming into Q4 at this time. It is October of 2025. And so there's some great ways that you can use this from a seasonal demand perspective. I can just simply go into the historical sales rank and I can select November of 2024. I can select December of 2024, whatever it is that I want to see a popular sales rank. So let's go with December for this particular example. Well, I can simply come into here and say, I want to see anything with a sales rank of under, let's go with 15,000. Okay. And whenever I do that, there are 684 million products that meet that. Let me go with 1 to 15,000. And so that brings us down to 3.9 million products. The reason that probably happened is for anything without a sales rank, it may have actually included all of those items too. I'm not exactly sure why it cut it down so much whenever I added 1 to here. But ultimately, we've got 4 million products that meet that criteria for the historical sales rank in December of 2024. Well, I can actually look at what the current sales rank is right now. So let's say I wanted to look at anything from 200,000 up to 300,000. And we're going to just do that for an average time period as well. So that way we know that it's at least had some sales over this time period. It's nothing massive, but we're looking to predict future demand. Maybe this has a higher sales rank right now. And being October, I may actually lower this to 100,000 because it may be picking up speed in terms of its demand for Q4. But let's just start with this. Additionally, we can look for anything with a buy box above $20. If you don't want to utilize the buy box, you could also use new third-party FBA or just the new price. If you're looking to do FBM, you've got a bunch of different options. The great thing with Keepa and the data product finder is you can play with this stuff and see what works best for you. But this is just for example's sake. So we're looking for things that have a higher sales rank right now versus ones that are in combination with ones that had a really low sales rank last year. And then I would also come down here and I'd probably look at a particular category. Maybe you want to look at toys, or you want to look at grocery, or you want to look at something else that's a little bit more seasonal potentially. So let's take a look at toys and see if anything pops up. Right now we're at 5,000 products. It's going to drop us down to 52 products. So let's just take a look at that. We could pull some other levers and add some additional parameters into here, but let's see what those 52 toys and games are that have a high sales rank right now that were doing great before. Now, in some cases, it may be because it's discontinued and you can't find it, but this is a great targeted list of products. So let's see what this one looks like. So if I click into this one, for example, it had a much lower sales rank, and then for some reason it jumped up here. So it could be, it looks like it sold out. It went out of stock here. Maybe it had some weird listing things happen to it. I would probably avoid this one right now, although it does look like it's starting to pick up with a sale, may be worth looking into to see if you can find it. It just kind of depends on that listing there. Let's take a look at some of these other ones here. This one's probably a little bit more common. We're seeing that it used to sell 1,429 sales rank last year in December, and now it's up here at this $229 price point. Now, one thing that I did forget to include was having a new offer count. We want to try to avoid any private label products, and this particular one has 1 to 3 sellers at any point in time. So I would most likely want to go and add in, especially since this is the same seller across the board, it's DB Roth. I would want to go and add in that we have at least 3 or 4 sellers currently on the listing. So let's see if we can do that real quick. I'm just going to click into advanced filter. I'm going to scroll down here to the seller offer count, and I'm just going to put that we have at least 3 across the board, just to see if that helps with anything. So now we have 7 targeted products. Again, if you're looking at Q4 items, there may actually be 1 or 2 sellers on there, or they may be even out of stock, which we'll cover in a second. But this is a great way to start to hone down on this. So Lego, for example, this particular one looks like it had some weird correction with the listing and the sales rank back here, but it was selling at a very fast pace. This could be an opportunity as you get into Q4. If you can find this and sell this, it'd be a great one to look at. So this is just another sourcing tool, another thing that you can add into your tool belt, into your arsenal to look for items that have some seasonal demand. And this was just toys. What I would also recommend from a seasonal perspective is to go back here and look at the advanced filter. And I'm going to widen this out a little bit and do 100,000, okay, up to 300. And we're going to add that there. So that's going to, for toys and games, that made it 63 products. But I'm also going to scroll down here and I'm going to get rid of toys and games. But I'm going to use the text field. Okay. So this is still part of the seasonal use cases, but I could look for any type of, decor. I could look for lights. I could look for ornaments. I could look for anything that has to deal with decorations or food products that are typically going to be seasonal. So let's see what decor pulls back. Currently would have over 3 sellers and would also have or meet that demand. So let's take a look at this personalized Christmas stocking. I don't know if personalized is what we'd want. And so let's look at Yankee Candle. We all should know the brand Yankee Candle at this point. You can see that it was selling much better and now it started to slow down. Now, the reason is that it could just be a discontinued scent, but this is one I would be looking for. We can see the prices started to go up and it may historically trend back down as these sellers fall off. Now, since this does have a huge amount of sellers coming onto it, you'd want to be cautious with it. But if you can be profitable at this level as it was last year, then it may be worth looking into for this particular product, right? And so this is where you can start to really hone in on those seasonal decor items. This one in particular had a huge demand right here, and now it's starting to pick back up. Now it could be one of those wholesale products, could be a private label product, but something else that you can look up in your typical sourcing that you're doing. So that was number 1, is seasonal demand. I wrote some notes down here. The next one would be increasing and decreasing sales ranks. Now, there's a bunch of different ways that you can do this inside of Keepa. You could look for a sales rank that has that is getting faster, it's selling more. You could say that you want to see anything between 20 to 40,000, and it used to be between 40 to 60,000, and 60 to 80, and 80 to 100. And so that means it's getting faster. Or you could do the opposite if you want to see things that are actually slowing down in sales. So you could do, I want to see anything between 100 to 150,000, anything between 80 to 120,000, anything from 60 to 180 or to 100,000, and just see things that are slowing down, which may indicate that the prices are getting higher. You could also use things like the drop percentage. But one way that you can do this is I could actually say, hey, I want to see the historical average sales rank. And I'm going to be very precise. I want to see in July that the average was between, let's go with 100,000 here, okay, up to 150. And we could just use that as an additional filter. So almost instead of a 30-day average, we're almost using a 60 to 90-day average for this time period. And then I could just come into here and say, hey, I want to see that that is between 125,000 to 175. And let me go ahead and do that. And then finally, we could put up 150 to 200,000, put anything with a buy box over 20. And let's see if we get anything for that. 239,000 products. So I'd want to hone that down a little bit more and add in a couple new things for sellers. So let's just go over 4 And we can then add in maybe a category and just see what those products return back as. So this is just another way that you can look at increasing or decreasing sales ranks and see the types of products that come up here. All right. So it's just an additional filter that you can use. This one's really basic. I think I like some of the other ones a little bit better, but you can see just by looking at this particular product that it meets those demands, right? It was a little bit faster moving, had more sales, about 50 per month. Now it's gotten a little bit slower moving. The price is about the same in this case. A lot of times you may see if there's a drastic increase or decrease, you may see more fluctuations in pricing. But that was the second way that you can use it. Okay, so first was seasonal demand. Second is to use it to help you add some additional parameters in there for increasing or decreasing sales ranks, and in particular being very specific about the month that you wanted to see. Again, this one's not my favorite, but it is a way that you can use it. Now, the third one is actually going to be sourcing competitor storefronts. And so let's take a look at it from the lens of Q4. Let's say that you have sold for a while, or you know of a storefront that does FBM heavily in Q4. Well, you could simply find that storefront. You could add in, you want to see any of the products that they sold in December that had anywhere from a 1 to a 40,000 sales rank. And then you could go and add their storefront into this new field that Keepa came out with just a few weeks ago, which would be let me find it right here. I always lose it. Right here, you could add in the seller ID and include historical offers. And so you'd just be looking at the seller's products that had a very low sales rank during that time period. And you can try to go find those FBM listings as well. I love this opportunity. Okay, so let's actually kind of play around with this. I want to find a seller storefront. So we're going to do between 1 to 40,000. I'm going to make sure that Amazon's currently out of stock on this, and I want to see anything under 150,000 currently, and we'll do that for the last 30 days as well. And then I'm simply going to scroll down here, and I'm going to look for an FBM buy box currently, okay? And let me find that underneath the buy box switch. I always misplace where all of these things are. And so let me go ahead and get that. Here we go. Is FBA? No for the buy box. We want to see just FBM buy boxes. And then I'm also going to put at least 3 sellers here. And that should at least cut it down. So we're at 81,938. And then I'm just going to select a category that I want to check out. So we're going to do patio, lawn, and garden, and go from here. So 2,273 products that meet just some basic criteria. All right, now, if I take a look at this, I may also want to find something that is more Christmas or decor oriented. So I'm actually going to go back and I'm going to add into this advanced filter here, and I'm going to add to the title. Okay, I'm going to add in Christmas and see what pulls up, if anything. All right, 13 products, perfect. Because I just want to get the storefront at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and see what this is. So this is a Gemmy product. Most likely, this is something that has a good amount of sellers. You can see last year, the seller count really peaked, but look at the sales rank. It's under 1,000. Okay, this thing is selling a ton. Looks like it got up to about 3,000 or more sold in those months of November, December for this particular product. And so I'm just interested in finding a particular storefront. And so I'm going to go to data. I'm going to click on offers here, and I could look at the current FBM offers if I wanted to, and just take a look at those products. But I may also look at some of the old ones too. Okay. Now you can also add in up to 50 storefronts and have Keepa filter out different matching products. And so I love this use case for it. And so I'm going to include historical. We went from 26 offers up to 240 because we included historical offers here. And I'm specifically going to look at FBM only. So we have 185 FBM only sellers. I'm going to click on export here, and I'm going to get all active columns. Now, whenever I export that, it's going to give me a nice list of all of these seller IDs, and I simply can take 50 of those. All right. And so let me go ahead and take these 50. I know you can't see that on the screen, but it opened up a separate document for me. And I'm going to go to dlim.co. Now, I've done this on other tutorials before, but I want to show you how this specifically would work from a Q4 perspective. So I paste in those seller IDs, come over here, and I'm just going to copy these. Okay, and then I'm going to go back into Keepa. We now have a list of FBM only seller IDs, and I'm going to click on advanced filter here. Now, it's going to keep me at this sales rank, and we've got a historical sales rank of 1 to 40,000. I may actually put in current. I'm going to do anything from 50,000. Nope, you know what? I'm going to do 75,000 up to 200 now, because I'm going to be looking for specific products that used to sell really well, that were FBM most likely sellers. And we're going to go ahead and check this out. That may be a little bit slower right now. So we've got 10 products, 1 to 40,000 and historical for December. And we want to make sure, I'm going to leave the buy box empty because I just kind of want to see what pulls back there. I'm going to scroll down here. I'm going to get rid of patio, lawn, and garden because I don't really care. I'm also going to get rid of the title. And then I'm simply going to scroll down here. I'm going to leave all of that the same for the seller count. And I'm going to make sure that I get to the seller. So I'm going to paste all of those seller IDs here. You can see just from the current products that they're selling, there's 615 different ASINs that had those other criteria. Okay, if I'm just looking at what they're currently selling, as Amazon out of stock, it had this historical sales rank and this current sales rank. But if I simply select this include historical offers button, we now have 1,780 products. Now, this is for any of the products that any of these sellers had historically. But I can also go in here and see, okay, out of these sellers, if I select, let's see that 3 of the sellers had the same exact product, how many do we have? We have 517 products that these 3 sellers, or that at least 3 of these sellers all had in common, that also sold under a 40,000 sales rank in December of 2024, and also is currently between 75,000 to 200,000 of a sales rank. Let's actually make this smaller. Let's say 5 of these sellers had the same exact products. We're down to 214. Okay, let's say 8 of these. I want to get it down to as small as I can right now. Obviously, if I was doing real sourcing, I'd be looking through the 500 products. So 8 different sellers had the exact same product on 60 different products. Let's find these things. This is powerful from an FBM standpoint, from an FBA standpoint, all these different ways you can use this. I love it. So Jemmy, all right, if you can sell Jemmy, that's great. You can see that 8 different storefronts had the same exact product, FBM. This thing was selling super fast last year at about 1,000 per month. Right now, you can see it's up to 50. So it's starting to pick back up in its sales rank. You can see the sales rank dropping. You can see the FBA sellers were up at $70. I would be potentially looking for this thing to see if I could sell it profitably at around this 40 to potentially $70 price point. Most likely it'd be at this $40 to $50 price point in Q4. That's just one of the products that 8 of those sellers had matching between their storefronts historically, right? That's where that historical feature can be so powerful. We can look at Cuisinart. We can look at, I don't know, Whitmore. I've never heard of this brand, actually, at least I can't remember hearing of it. Amazon used to be on this. So yeah, another potential product here that you could do FBM depending on the size of that thing. And so you can start to see that this can be very powerful from an FBM perspective. I could also go back here and combine what I did in the last one, where we're looking for Christmas products, or I'm looking for Thanksgiving products. And I could actually come down here and I could say, you know what, I want to go back to 3 of these sellers have matching products. There's 517. And I also want to go into the title and see if anything has Christmas or maybe inflatable. Okay, now we only have 5 products here that match with Christmas in the title, and you notice most of these are inflatables by Jemmy. But still, if you're somebody that likes to sell inflatables, this is a great way to find a good list of items that should be selling really well and is on the up and coming right now for being a prime opportunity. I just love this. Think of all the different things that you can sell that are seasonal right now, and you can use historical sales rank combined with competitor analysis using their historical ASINs, not just their current ones. Just a beautiful way to use it. Probably the best way, in my opinion, right now. So that's the third one. Okay. The next one is kind of a variation on that. You could actually utilize your own storefront. So this is the 4th way. Instead of using any storefront or any competitor storefronts, I would come down here. We're just going to simply get rid of all of these other ones. I'm actually going to just delete those. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at our own storefront. And it will just be an example of one of these storefronts here. I don't know if they have anything good, but let's see if I do that. This particular one has 0 products, probably because I need to put is one of. And let's see if there's anything else. All right, so this particular one was not the best of the best for me to look at because I'm just randomly selecting one of these storefronts to see if we can just get this to provide us some things. Also, I do have quite a lot of filters. Let me get rid of Christmas on here. You can see I'm doing this live, okay? So I wanted to make sure to get you all the different ways you can start to use this as best as possible. And so let's see. So now we have 5 products, okay, for that one storefront. But let's pretend this is yours, okay? You could say, all right, I want to see my storefront. I want to see all the historical items that I've sold that had a very good sales rank then and have a slower one now. The reason this is powerful is because you may have forgotten about some of these products, right? You may have not even thought of the different ways that you should go out and find these products to sell them again. Well, if you follow this methodology of looking up things that sold really well last year that are in your storefront, or at least were, and have a higher sales rank right now, or even take out the higher sales rank right now, because who cares? If it was in your storefront, then you probably sold it profitably. I'm actually going to do that. Let's see, we go from 5 products to 81 products that this seller sold at some point and now has a really good sales rank. We can just say Amazon's out of stock and, add in other filters if we care about the pricing. But this is powerful because I could just go here and see, all right, what are those products that sold really well last year in my own storefront. The reason this is helpful is because you probably already have a supplier for it. You know where to buy it: retail arbitrage, wholesale, online arbitrage, any of them. And you could just simply look to see what the pricing has done on those products over the last year and what it's doing now and what it's trending for moving forward, and just decide if you want to repurchase those. You could have just forgotten about them. So use this on your own storefront to see what sold well last year, especially if you did seasonal products. This is huge for a great way to utilize that. Okay, so we've now covered the seasonal demand. We've covered the increasing and decreasing sales rank use cases, the competition analysis use case, whether it's FBA or FBM, and your own storefront to analyze. Let's talk about out of stock now items. Okay, so I like this. I'm just going to simply clear this. Let's say I wanted to see anything last December that averaged under, let's just go with 25,000. No, that's 250. I need to be able to type well. Actually, I'm going to change it to 10,000 and up to 50,000. Okay, so these are the things that last December, that's what it was historically doing. Now, I want to see anything with no sales rank now. So at some point, it lost its sales rank, but it was selling really good back here. And I want to see that Amazon's out of stock on this listing, and I want to see that there is a buy box. Let's go with over $20. So there's enough margin in there. And I want to see that there's enough sellers down here. And so we're going to simply add in, let's just go with 3 across the board. And we know now there's 1,078 products that meet that criteria. Now, if I wanted to step this up another notch, I could also see, let's just see what happens. If I scroll down here to the bought in the past month, this isn't perfect. It's going to weed out a lot of ASINs that may actually be good, but let's put 50 bought in the last month. Let's see what it tells us. There's 109 products without a sales rank that have sold over 50 times in the last month and used to have a really good sales rank last December. So let's just check that out for example's sake, right? The thing that I love about sourcing for Amazon, especially with the Keepa Data Product Finder, is there's so many opportunities, so many different plays to run. It's why in my Evergreen sourcing system program, I have over 70 SOPs. And with this new thing, I'll probably get to add another 5 to 10 because there's so many ways to use this. And so if you're interested in checking that out, you can actually just head over to askjimmysmith.com/evergreen. Or if you're interested in being a part of my business building legends community, you can also check that out at askjimmysmith.com/legends. All those links are in the description for you. So let's take a look at this product here. So we just went through and looked at things that are currently showing as no sales rank. Okay. And in some cases that could be out of stock. But let's see this one in particular. This product is completely no sales rank. I think I said out of stock at the beginning of this, so I'm sorry if I misspoke. I meant no sales rank currently. But you can see this used to have a bunch of sellers, and it started to have more sellers, and then it lost its sales rank. But this thing has continued to sell really fast. I would definitely be looking for this. The price is starting to go up. The sales rank most likely is going to speed up, or the sales are going to speed up in Q4. As you can see here, in December last year, it was selling over 1,000 times a month. This would be a great product to start looking for. Okay, now this is just a random product. I don't know anything about it, but it's a 2-pack of dark roux. Okay, this used to sell really fast. It still sells really fast, but doesn't have a sales rank. So I love that as an opportunity as well. What was selling well back then that no longer has a sales rank? Now, since I mentioned out of stock, let me see if I can get rid of that here. We're actually going to do out of stock across the board, and let's see what pulls up, okay? Because I think this is an important way to take a look to see if there's anything currently out of stock, just in general, because I did mention that. So there's actually an eighth way, I guess, that you could use this. So something that was selling well, 10 to 50,000 historically in December, but currently is out of stock across the board. And let me go ahead down here. I want to make sure that I get rid of the seller count, because if it is out of stock, it shouldn't have sellers. And so we're looking now at 4,169 products. And I could theoretically leave the sellers and the bought in the past month, because maybe 2 weeks ago it was in stock and had this, but I'm just going to get rid of that. And let's see what pulls up. And we're going to just simply look up Christmas, okay? Just because I've just been doing that. So let's see what comes up for Christmas. Now, these may actually not be as fruitful. There's 1,571 products here. May not be as fruitful with this particular search here. You can see, yeah, like this one had a sales rank, hasn't sold really in the last year. So some weird stuff happening there. This one might be more promising, although it's probably a private label seller. You can see, though, it was selling really fast and, has been coming in and out of stock. So actually, let's go back and let's try something different for this out of stock. I do want to see those 76 items that pulled up. And I'm just going to get rid of Christmas in the title field. I'm not going to get rid of Christmas, but I get rid of it in the title field. I'm going to look at 3 offers across the board. And I'm just going to look at 30 days and current. And I'm also going to see what the 50 plus per month sales actually pulls back, because this is going to say, hey, right now it's out of stock, but it was selling really fast. And so let's take a look at 50 or more. So we now have 78 products that meet that criteria. Some of these are shirts. This looks like to be some sort of sweetener, and most likely it just ran out of stock is my assumption. And so this would probably be a tough one to deal with, but it could be worth looking for. Let's see, this is a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. Let's keep going and see if there's anything else here. KitchenAid mixer. Yeah, these things just ran out of stock, so it's going to be tough to deal with some of this. I'm looking for something that's a little bit better than that, but ultimately this could be a use case for you. Again, I didn't plan really to talk about out of stock. I meant to talk about no sales rank, but since I had that little bit of a slip there, I figured, hey, let's see what pulls up. So you may be able to find some gold in this if it truly is out of stock right now. Definitely some fun stuff to be looking at. And so that covers our 5th one, which was no sales rank and a bonus of out of stock. The next one, I'm going to make sure I'm looking at this properly, is going to be store private label or regional brands. Okay, so this is the 6th one. We can specifically say we want to see anything from store private label or regional brands. Let's just go with from 1 to 20,000 in December of last year. We could do November if we wanted. And we want to see anything that has between let's go with 50,000 up to 250,000 in a current sales rank. And the last 30 days. I'm going to get rid of all of these out of stocks. I probably should have just cleared the form, because now this is going to be kind of a pain. But I'm going to clear all of those out of stocks there. I'm going to say Amazon's out of stock. I want to see a buy box of over $20. I'm going to scroll down here and look for store private label brands. Now, you could use the brand field. I'm going to try the title field, and I'm specifically going to do holiday time and see what pulls up. That is a Walmart store private label product. And I'm going to get rid of the 50 bought in the last month, because that's probably one of the things that may be screwing it up a little bit, or it could just be that those products are not going to show up for me. The next one that I could try then, instead of holiday time, let's take a look at, let's try Publix and see if anything pulls up for that. And if not, it's probably just because it doesn't sell fast enough. But if you have any particular store private label brands, let's try Kroger, see if that sped up or works any better. And if not, then I'm going to scroll back up to here. I'm going to try to widen these parameters a bit. And I'm going to say anything from 1 to 50,000 and see if anything pulls up for that particular product. Nothing here. So let me make sure I'm looking at the right filters. The point of this is to help us find things that have a store private label brand that we can utilize. And you can apply this for any regional products. You can use it for any store PL brands. You can use it for wholesale, which was the seventh way. I think wholesale is a great use case for this. But ultimately, I want to make sure that we are looking at good products here. And so let me see if anything does pull up under these filters. There's 49,000 products, maybe a little bit tough here. So I would definitely run this filter. Let's get rid of the offer count. Let's see if we can find anything then with Kroger brand. Private selection will be the next one that I'm going to try. See if that pulls up. 0 products for that too. Okay, so this isn't going to work with the brands that I was hoping it would work for, which is a shame. But I would run through any store private label brands that you have. Just kind of play around with this and see if there's anything that we can find. I'm just going to completely get rid of any and every filter except for that historical sales rank and see if anything does pull up for this. And there's 1 product then for Kroger. So it must not have met our other, it's coupons for Kroger, must not have met our other criteria in that particular case. So I'm going to look at private selection and see if that pulls anything. And I need to make sure to type that properly. And I know that this has been a long video, but hopefully we can find something that will pull up for us here. Let's try Equate just as an example. 27 products that met that for Equate, which is a Walmart brand. If you're able to sell it, you can see though that it was selling pretty fast. Let's try this one. It's still selling pretty fast, this particular product right now. Okay, so this is a great way though to probably use what I was doing initially, which is let's find things that have anywhere from a 75,000, or I can't remember what I actually started it with, to 250,000 currently. And that was 25. There we go. Let's see if that pulls anything back. So there's 6 Equate products that would meet that criteria. And so if we were to take a look at this one in particular, you can see it was selling a little bit faster and now it's slowed down. Again, Equate's probably not the best example, but you can use this for anything that has flavored products. You can use this for any brand that sells any kind of holiday products. You know, holiday time was one example, but you could look up Jemmy, right? So I could go, if I was able to sell Jemmy products instead of Equate, I would actually probably come to the brand field and I would look up Jemmy and see what pulls up here. And so with Jemmy in particular, there's 61 products that meet that criteria. And so in this particular case, we can see all the Jemmy inflatables that were selling really fast and now are selling a little bit more slowly. So if you want to use it for a brand, for a wholesale account, those are the final 2 ways that I recommend using this for, especially with a brand. So you could use the brand. Let's say you've got a wide range of products from this one distributor or from one particular brand that you have a wholesale account with. You could put in the brand name and just search for things that sold really well historically and now isn't selling as well. And then you could go place that order or PO for the things that should be selling well again this coming Q4. So those are the ways to use everything, at least that I can consider right now, for the historical sales rank. My favorite way is using it to find good quality FBM or FBA listings, comparing historical ASINs from competitors as well as the historical sales rank. Let me really quickly run through this list again. I've got them written down. So first, seasonal demand, we've kind of covered that pretty heavily. Second is for increasing or decreasing sales ranks. You can use that as an additional parameter. It's probably my least favorite out of all of the ones that I've told you, but it is a use case for it. The third one is going to be for competitor storefronts and being able to do what I showed you, where what are the items that all different storefronts have sold that meet these other criteria as well. I love that. That's probably my favorite use case. Fourth is going to be your own storefront and looking at historical items you've sold, matched with the things that had a good historical sales rank during different time periods, as well as anything with higher sales ranks right now. Then fifth, you've got the out of stock / the no sales rank items that also had a historical sales rank. Sixth, you're going to have the store private label or the regional products, if you can find some that actually pull up with those historical sales ranks. And then 7th/8th, because we did that bonus one, is going to be wholesale, using your wholesale account brand, putting it in here, seeing what sells really well during those time periods. Now, it's not just about Q4. It's also about any other historical sales rank time period you care about. Maybe it's Valentine's Day, you've got Easter, you've got anything for 4th of July, you've got a whole bunch of different time periods. You can use keywords that match to those time periods to find the best products as well. So I could also use this not just in December for Christmas. I could use it in November for Thanksgiving, or October for Thanksgiving of last year. I could use it for, hey, I want to see what February 2024 did for Valentine's Day, and I want to look at bundles. And the reason I want to look at bundles is because I want to make my own bundle. You can use this in so many ways. So start thinking outside the box. Use this to your advantage. I'm going to be adding these SOPs to the Evergreen Sourcing System program and the Legends community in the future. If you're interested in those links, they're down below in the description. And if you're interested in a free community to join, I highly recommend the My Silent Team Facebook group. Has over 70,000 members strong right now. I've been in it since 2015 and I helped to lead it. And so if you're interested in checking that out, you can go to bit.ly/MST group. That link will also be in the description. But I hope this video helped you and blessed you, and that you have a great rest of your day and a blessed rest of your week.